Hello everybody, my name is Joshua Swanigan, and with hunting season just about upon us, I'd like to introduce you to my new knife, the Tops Knives Backwoods Skinner. It's put out by the fine folks over at Tops, out of Idaho Falls, Idaho. Every knife that comes out of Tops Knives is 101% American made, so you know you're going to get the best quality possible. Now, let's take a look at the knife. Right out of the bag, you're going to notice that the Backwoods Skinner comes with this very nice leather sheath. It has this quick release belt loop here. You'll find out why that's important coming up here shortly. You can also wear it as a neck knife. We've got this little tab hanging down here. It's perfect for paracord. This is my operation here. You'll notice that mine has this quick release snap here just like this. There's a couple reasons for that. One is, again, so we've got that quick, easy on and off just like this, which is, I'll explain again why that's important later. The other reason is if I'm out in the field and something happens, I end up sliding down a hill unexpectedly and this catches on like a limb or something like that, this is going to snap right off of here and I'm going to be much safer for it. Let's go ahead and pull it out of the sheath and take a look at the knife itself. Okay, again, this is the Backwoods Skinner. It's produced by Tops Knives, and right off the bat what you're going to notice is this nice desert tan powder coating. This is a 1095 high carbon steel, so you want to make sure, so they put this on here to make sure that the knife doesn't rust. High carbon steels can tend to rust with a lot of exposure to oxygen, but you'll notice that the edge is not coated or anything, so you're going to want to use like a nice oil on this. I tend to prefer like olive oil or vegetable oil or anything like that. Something that's edible. Again, you're going to be processing game with this. You're not going to want to use like a gun oil or any kind of petroleum-based oil and getting that all over your meat, because then obviously it's going to become, for the most part, inedible. I wouldn't want to eat that stuff. Also, we've got these the really nice canvas micarta. It's the green canvas micarta scales. What makes the canvas micarta very nice, a lot of Tops knives come with a cotton micarta, but the canvas micarta, when you get yours, I don't know if it comes across in the video very well, but it's much grainier than the cotton micarta, which makes it much grippier, especially when wet or when you have blood from processing your game or whatever on your scales here. They're still going to be very grippy, and you're still going to be able to maintain a good purchase on your Backwoods Skinner, which is very important. The next thing I'd like to point out on the Backwoods Skinner is the shape. You'll notice I went with this Ulu style blade, which is one of my personal favorite styles of blade. I've always been a big fan of the Ulu ever since a friend of mine back in Colorado had showed me his, and ever since then I've just loved it. For any kind of processing that you're doing with like meats, things like that, it's not really a chopping motion that you're using, it's more of a slicing motion, and the nice rounded edge gives you very good slicing motion while you're working with whatever you're doing. Plus, the other nice thing about this deep belly like this deep belly profile, the blade length on this is 3 inches, but with that nice Ulu shape like that, it's giving you a lot more cutting area than just that 3 inches, whereas like a straighter knife gives you just that length. So with this, I'd say you're getting more like 3.5, maybe even up to getting close to 4 inches of actual cutting area. So that's one of the things that really makes the Ulu style blade so nice, is just more cutting area for the length of the knife. With the shape of the blade, you'll notice that I've got the blade angled down from the grip about 15 degrees. The reason for that is when you have a blade that goes straight out from the grip, you tend to have to angle your wrist like this to get to the blade itself for cutting. With this nice 15-degree angle, I get a nice natural straight break to my wrist, which I can process meat for a lot longer because I'm not suffering from the fatigue of my wrist being angled like this at an unnatural angle. So I can do a lot more work this way. And when I'm getting in there, I can really just keep right on going, and I can use my wrist a lot more, whereas if it was already like this, I'm not going to get quite as much work out of that. Another thing I designed on here is this straight clip point here. Now with where the bevel comes up here, it makes it almost look like more of a drop point, but it is actually a straight clip point. And the reason for the straight clip point is, and it works with a drop point as well, but I opted for the straight clip. But it allows me to really index the tip like this, the spine like this, for finer work. If I need to get in, just do finer work like this, or when I'm wanting to get up inside, I'm not cutting things with this tip that I don't intend to cut. I have a lot more control. I can really guide it up inside and get it where I want to go. So those are some of the reasons for some of the shape of the profile of this knife. You'll notice this nice jimping on the back. It's fairly deep, and part of the reason for that is obviously once we get blood on this, it's still not going to be slippery. Your thumb's not going to slide around on the spine of the Backwoods Skinner. You're going to get a really good purchase in that jimping. So now I'd like to point out one of the features that sets the Backwoods Skinner apart from most other hunting knives. Most hunting knives have, if they have a gut hook at all, it's usually located on the spine somewhere up here towards the tip. One of the issues with that, obviously, if I'm going to try and index that blade, I'm not going to be able to do that with the gut hook up there. Not safely anyways. Too much risk of my fingers sliding in there, cutting myself, potentially ruining what could be a great hunting trip. The other problem is when you have it up here and you're out in the field, you're getting ready to open up your game, and you go to pull the knife out of the sheath and it's catching the sheath and destroying sheaths. I have friends who have lost really nice coats to a gut hook, shirts, all kinds of stuff. You know, the gut hook on the spine can tend to be problematic. There are a lot of people who have luck with them, but I personally have just seen too many disasters with the gut hook back there. I don't own any knives that have a gut hook back there. I've gone with separate ones for just that reason. So what I've done with the Backwoods Skinner, you'll notice I'm putting it in the sheath before I do this, and that'll become evident why here in just a couple minutes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this gut hook, or I mean the grenade pin, sorry, right out of here, and in here you can see here's the gut hook. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn this around, put it right back in, line those holes up right there, put my grenade pin back in, and I'm going to grip it and rip it. This is going to give me really good grip on this, even better than a gut hook on the spine. If the gut hook was on the spine, I would have to hold the grip as I'm doing it, and what that's, I mean, I'm going to have to, you know, maintain a lot of grip strength and that kind of thing to be able to get through it. Whereas this is just a nice easy pull. It's not going to take a whole lot of strength to keep a hold of my knife as I'm operating the gut hook. Now I can't stress enough the importance of putting it back in its sheath for the gut hook operation. We actually went through quite a few different sheath iterations strictly for safety reasons. We've tried a Kydex sheath, we've tried a couple different things. This is the one we landed on because it has this flap right here that keeps the knife in there as you're operating that gut hook, because you don't want it slipping out and nicking or getting your finger. Again, I can't stress enough, you have to have this sheath on while operating the gut hook, because as you can see, and I'm going to do this very gently, very carefully, I have a whole lot of blade exposed in my palm here. I'm going to suffer some pretty severe lacerations, and it's going to cut my my hunting trip abruptly short, unfortunately, and it will be a bad experience. It'll be a bad year. You can see how that's just right there on my index finger, everything. So again, you have to, it's just imperative that you keep it in this leather sheath, and that was why we went with the easy on-off belt or easy on-off for the next sheath. So you can get it out and have this right in there and you're using it the way you need to. So to put it back in, obviously just pull the grenade pin again, turn it right back around, slide it right back in, grenade pin's back in, and you're off and running. And there it is. This video was meant as an introduction to the Backwoods Skinner, its operation, its features, the different things about it that may serve you well in the field. After this hunting season, I do hope to have some good video on the Backwoods Skinner in use. But I would also like to see some of your photos and videos of your use of the Backwoods Skinner. So the best way to do that would be to join the Tops Knives user group on Facebook. A lot of great people out there, a lot of Tops Knives designers, and even Tops Knives themselves go out there. So if you like Tops Knives, or if you love Tops Knives like I do, that'd be a great place for you to connect. And you can post your videos and your photos of the Backwoods Skinner and what you've done with it. I'd love to see those, and I do frequent it. I will comment. So make sure you get out there and get some good photos and some good videos. All right, I'll be looking for you on the Tops Knives user group. Remember, it's the Backwoods Skinner. You can purchase it on survival.com for $115, or you can purchase it directly through Tops at topsknives.com.